This piece is rather chaotic and violent, often grotesque and unsettling, and what I was trying to convey was the feeling, if this could even be felt, of being returned to the land by the ugly process of decomposition. How the ground, the soil, and all the decomposers, the organisms, etc., which in some way or another had a part in your biological creation, will always find a way to take back what was initially borrowed. The work seeks to explore a sort of fetid environment of decomposition. And within the piece, material comes to die and decompose through the processes present in the feedback systems, which take normally ordered gestures and convert them into disordered clouds of sort of unrecognizable noise. Quotations and samples from previous works I've written are fed through these feedback complexes, and what comes out is the soil through which they were birthed, so this sort of formless noise. Over the course of the piece, a process from low to high entropy is observed, and by the end, a disordered equilibrium is reached through a constantly accelerating drift towards this high entropic space, so material becomes noise. The piano is first prepared with a variety of means to convert regular keyboard playing into this bank of semi-pitched percussive sounds by using magnets, patafix, eraser, and tape, for example. My favorite is arguably the magnets, which extend the normal harmonic sound of a string strike into this sort of inharmonic bell-like sound with irregular beatings. Next come the objects used on the string by the performer, the glasses, the CD case, the EBOs, and the vibrators, like this, which all serve to literally extend the acoustic sounds of the piano, activating and elongating certain fundamentals or overtones for durations not normally available in regular key striking. And the most important part, I think, is the magnetic feedback systems that are placed within and through the piano to turn the instrument into a sort of chaotic, unpredictable organism, which reacts to the slightest touch of the performer. There are two feedback systems running through the strings of the piano, where minuscule changes in finger location on the strings, the pressure of the fingers, and the location of the mic, which is often moved. And these are very unnoticeable changes to the audience. These changes are then amplified greatly by the feedback's behavior in the sonic realm, where then the listener can hear these changes as if they were placed under a microscope. It's almost too chaotic to derive a formulaic sort of approach to, and it can never be controlled completely. And it almost has a life of its own, and I find that very pleasing. The title of this piece, and As the Ground Consumes, derives from a self-written poem that originally arose from a rather dark place in a set of near-death experiences I had experienced a couple years back. Although the works I have written since the end of 2022 have taken portions or lines from this poem, notably the first work, which was titled As I Laid Flesh in a Puddle of Blood. I have since burned this poem, so it does not exist in physical form any longer. However, I continue to piece together what I kept or what I remember about what I had written. For me, this work is a sort of catharsis on this poetic line, an attempt to sonically come to terms with the fact that eventually we all inevitably become indistinguishable from the ground and soil upon which we reside, and upon which we were birthed. And this is a little bit frightening, I must say, but if I look at it in a sort of mutualism between human and land, I feel at peace with the knowledge that eventually, at some point in the future, this might happen to me, and that this is just the cycle of life. This piece was written specifically for my friend and colleague Jacob Mason, and had been an idea in both of our minds for a little while before I had started writing it. This particular work, being the second installment in my series of ongoing solo feedback works, was a significant turning point in my musical research, I must say. Not only in how it progressed my understanding of sonic entropy, but also how it forced me to be comfortable with writing ugly music. I think earlier in my musical journeys, I was too enamored with writing music that was always trying to be beautiful, even if that beauty was a sort of pleasing ugliness, a sort of appealing horror. But this piece really ventures into the territory of uncomfortable grotesqueness, and it doesn't shy away from being unpleasant. And that's the point of the work, to make one feel uneasy and disturbed.